Welcome. Today we will be talking about the rights and responsibilities related with bearing arms. The right to bear arms was granted with the signing of the Second Amendment, which was signed on December 15th of 1791. The drafter was James Madison. The Second Amendment granted Americans the right to bear arms. What caused the creation of the Second Amendment? Well, the Second Amendment was created so that citizens could protect themselves. This could be from threats from other citizens or the government. If you look back in history, when the government is the only one with weapons, it is very easy for the government to take over and gain too much power. This is something the early leaders of the country did not want to happen. This is why they created the Second Amendment. Also, we need to consider the times in which the Second Amendment was created. The country was just coming off of the Revolutionary War. Back then, battle was not as tactical as it is now. It was not very organized as it is now. There was little battles that would break out in different locations. So this is where it would be very important for the citizens to be able to protect themselves. And if the government was the only people with the weapons, then they would have to distribute the weapons in times of crisis. But if everybody can bear arms themselves, then they can protect themselves in events like this. Also, when you think about it, at the time the country was relatively young. And young countries aren't necessarily known to be the strongest countries, which makes it more prevalent to be attacked by other nations. So if a surprise attack were to happen, if the citizens could protect themselves, this would be beneficial compared to the government having the weapons and having to distribute the weapons and get people set in the right positions. So if the country were to get into another war at the time, it would have been super beneficial for the citizens to be armed. So to sum this section up, the Second Amendment was created so that citizens could protect themselves from citizens, the government, and potential attack.
The Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If we break this down, there are multiple pieces to the Second Amendment that have a deeper meaning. As a well-regulated militia, which states that citizen soldiers for the defense of the state, subject to a plan, organization, arms, and discipline. The security of a free state refers to security against invasion, insurrection, and civil arrest for the protection of public liberty. The people stands for the people of the United States and people of the states. Keep and bear arms refers to maintaining and arming militia, keeping military readiness for public defense. And shall not be infringed is a term of art for protecting sovereign and public rights, which means that the government cannot take away this right. The Second Amendment is a right that states that all Americans have the right to own guns and bear arms. This amendment also comes with the responsibility of knowing how to treat guns right and be responsible for guns in general. In more simple terms, the Second Amendment states that as an American citizen, you have the right to arm yourself and own guns. This amendment also firmly establishes that the government cannot infringe on that right.
With all rights comes responsibilities. When it comes to the Second Amendment right, we will be discussing how people have correctly and incorrectly used this right. Many ways that people have correctly used this right is when it comes to defending themselves or using their guns in a correct manner, like hunting or for sports. Ways that people have incorrectly used this right is when it comes to violence and gun violence, where people have used these weapons to harm people.
Responsible gun owners lock up their firearms in a secure place so that they can't hurt themselves or others. And they go hunting and shoot at fire ranges, but they don't use their firearms to harm anyone. Then, on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who don't look up their firearms, making it easy for not only to hurt others, but also themselves. You can look at instances like Parkland or Columbine, where a gun wasn't locked up, and the mentally distressed child took it to school and stole innocent lives. In the upcoming video from Sadie, who is a school shooting survivor, you can see what it was like to be in the mind of someone who went through a school shooting.
Kind of stunned by that. They walk out the gym, and I remember hearing one gunshot. That's when it finally struck me that something was actually happening. The shooter had a specific plan, and that plan was to kill all of the kids that were in my gym classes. He had a journal that said that he wanted to kill and shoot all of the sinners. In his mind, we all deserve to die, and it was the one person that did pass away, unfortunately, was the one that actually saw the gun. And
as you can see, it was truly terrifying to go through something that horrific. There are many statistics to show how dangerous they can be, such as a statement from the Sandy Hook Promise website that states guns are the leading cause of childhood deaths due to suicide and school shootings. While the number on average of school shootings has been going down, that does not mean that they are still unfortunately happening.